I'm going to point out 2 reasons that people do not retire earlier. You either know you can retire a few years early and you don't because the benefits are too good, or you don't retire a few years early because your plan is not giving you the confidence and clarity that you need to go ahead and do it. Now, there's one solution, and it's really easy, and that is to get clarity on your plan. And that's why we say retire with calmness and clarity. If you were to get clear about the strength of your plan and it were to show you that it was okay to retire and you felt really good about it, most people would retire early. But the fact is, most people don't retire those couple of years early. And I think it's sad because maybe you can't, but I think there's a lot of people that actually could. And in this video, we're going to talk about those 2 reasons in a little bit more detail and see if we can get you a little bit closer to feeling good about pulling the trigger on your retirement. Hey everyone, I'm Nick Davis, founder of Brindle and Babe Wealth Management. We're here to show you how to retire with calmness and clarity. If you like this content, you know the drill. Hit that like button and subscribe so you see more information like this. First of all, everybody that we've ever helped to retire in our practice almost never regrets it. In fact, many of them lose weight, they find new hobbies, they get lighter in life, and they often say, I wish I would have done that a little bit earlier. So we know that stopping work is a good thing for a lot of people. We also know that there's 2 reasons why people don't do it. Either the benefits are so good or the plan is foggy and there's not confidence to really help you to pull that trigger. Now, I'm going to talk about both of these in detail, and at the end of the video, I'm going to give you some recommendations of improvements to your plan that we recommend people do and maybe get you a little bit closer to that special day. Okay, many people wait too long because reason number 1, the benefits are just too good. If I work longer, I'm saving more money because I'm putting money in my 401k. I'm getting that free money from my employer. I am extending my Social Security because I'm prolonging it and I'm not taking it yet, so I'm helping to optimize that. I'm reducing the amount of years that I have to plan for. So instead of planning for 30 years of retirement, maybe I'm planning for 27 years of retirement. And I'm probably more appreciated in my work than ever before, and I'm at the height of my income than ever before. So reasons like this make it very difficult for people to go ahead and say, I'm ready to go ahead and go into that next chapter, which basically looks murky and doesn't have vision, and it seems like I'm not going to really know what to do with myself outside of going on vacation. Not to mention, we're getting closer to that Medicare age. So if we were before 65 or younger than 65, we're justifying it with the fact that we don't have to pay for healthcare for those extra couple of years. So we're going to try to get ourselves to at least 65 years old. So there's lots of perks to waiting longer. All right, reason number 2 is that your planning lacks clarity, and financial advisors and planners poorly communicate. We communicate very poorly because a lot of times we say the word probability. We say, well, you have this probability of retiring, and probability sounds like probably. And that doesn't do a lot for giving us confidence in that next chapter and, replacing our paycheck. So if you're familiar with Monte Carlo simulations, if you've heard that term before, here's an image for you so you can see what that looks like. You know that there's 1,000 different possibilities. And though this is useful for technicians, it's not necessarily helpful or useful for retirees. In fact, it communicates poorly. It looks like a bottle rocket was shot out and you don't really know which direction it's going to go. It leaves the retiree thinking, well, which bottle rocket am I going to be, right? And then you add to that the generic 401k probability dial that says you're okay to retire, that green, yellow, red dial on your 401k statement. And these are based off of Monte Carlo simulations. Again, my point is it's just foggy. And unless you're an engineer, you don't necessarily love the probability stuff with Monte Carlo. Now, I wrote a white paper where I talk about what I don't love about Monte Carlo and probability-based planning. And it's in the details of this video. You can download that white paper if you want to learn what I think about Monte Carlo analysis and probability-based planning. But the goal is to convince yourself that it's okay to retire, or when it's going to be okay to retire, isn't it? I mean, really, that's your goal. Convince yourself that it's okay to retire. A lot of times people will come to us over the years and they'll say, well, so-and-so said I could retire. And we say, well, why didn't you? Well, they're not convinced. So what does it take for the person to become confident in their ability to kind of enter that next phase and know that they're going to be okay? A lot of times it's satisfying the research they need to do. A lot of times it's feeling like they've got that clear, consistent plan right in front of them that they understand. But here's the thing. Even when people have all the money they could possibly have, they struggle with stopping work. So I want you to imagine that you were to become absolutely convinced that you're going to die with millions of dollars. Would you continue to still work those 2 years? Is it better to be at work for those 2 extra years, or is it better to enjoy those years in retirement? Most people would say, well, I probably shouldn't enjoy those years in retirement. But in likelihood, they won't, because the communication is really foggy or they're just not clear. So here's 2 things we encourage people to do to increase the confidence in their plan. The first one is to get more granular about your plan. And the second one is to make your plan better. So get more detailed and granular and make your plan better. Now, in a second, I'm going to give you some exact features of high quality plans, because not all plans are created equal and some are better than others. So you want to get granular. You know, when you're younger, you can paint with an abstract painting, an abstract brush towards retirement, because you're not exactly sure where that bottle rocket's going to land. But as you get closer to retirement, you're painting with a fine, detailed brush, and you want to be able to see things a lot more clearly, and it's time to take a deeper look at things. One thing you can do is take a closer look at your spending narrative. I like to call it your spending narrative because it's how you're going to spend money. So the image you see there is often called the spending smile. And a lot of times people spend a lot more money when they're younger, and they're paying off RVs, they're gathering new hobbies, things like that. And then as time goes on, they reduce that spending down, and then it slightly creeps back up again towards the end of life for healthcare. That's called the spending smile. And I think intuitively, a lot of us realize that that 4% rule plan isn't really accounting for the fact that we're going to spend money in a way that's not necessarily linear. And so if we were a little more detailed with how we're going to spend our money in our plan, that can help us to feel like it's representing what's going to happen for us a little bit more accurately. We also suggest separating your variable expenses from your fixed expenses. So you just want to know, as long as I know that my food, shelter, water is covered, no matter what, well, then I know that those variable expenses, I'm going to enjoy those variable spending a little bit more, those vacations and that nicer car I was going to buy, or whatever those things are, that extra cable package and whatnot. It helps you to spend that money a lot better if you know what you're falling back on. I mentioned that not all plans are created equal. So let me give you some examples of what better plans should do for you. All right, the first thing is, better plans don't have too much fixed income, because fixed income can never outpace inflation. A lot of times we see people who have made the mistake of having overly conservative plans because of inflation. In order to fight inflation, we believe you have to own equities. You have to own companies that are making profits and producing dividends as a weapon against inflation, because inflation is a real threat, and we're living longer, which means we have to be able to grow that money for more years than we used to, say, 50 years ago. The next thing is, a plan that pays less taxes is better than one that pays more. And the way you accomplish this is you take a look at your tax horizon and you take advantage of tax planning strategies. And tax planning is looking forward into what may happen so you can position yourself on a year-by-year basis, whereas doing your taxes is just looking backwards. Next is a plan that withdraws money pro rata instead of sequential, or at least looks at the idea of doing pro rata versus sequential. So what that means is, taking out from different accounts to blend that tax bracket versus just emptying one account completely before moving on to the next. In order to accomplish that, you want to look at your taxes each year and see where those opportunities lie to take money out of those IRAs versus those Roth IRAs or those non-qualified accounts to blend that bracket. Better plans make allowance for sequential withdrawals. Better plans look out for your withdrawal strategy. A plan that optimizes Social Security. It's usually not good advice for both spouses to wait as long as possible before you take your Social Security. Social Security is that little hinge that swings a big door. It really makes a big impact on how things go for us in retirement, and we really should be looking at how we claim our Social Security in relationship to our entire plan, when we're going to stop working, how much money we're going to be withdrawing from our accounts, etc. And lastly, a plan that helps you to get the most from your money using a modern guardrails withdrawal strategy. Now, I wrote a paper about that. It's just the white paper I was talking about earlier. You can get that in the video description. And in other videos I've created, I've talked about the benefits of the withdrawal strategy, the income withdrawal strategy, and there's various different types. And I'm going to link to the video here so that you can watch that if you want to. Now, I did not write the white paper before I made that video, so I did not include that particular version of income distribution in the video, but you can get the idea for how important how you withdraw your money is. All this is to say, I think you should retire earlier if you can. And the only way you do that is if you get confident in the strength of your plan and decide that you just don't want to die with millions of dollars. You want to actually be purposeful with that. Enjoy more of your life from your money and all the work you've done getting to this point in your life. Thanks for watching. Hey there, it's Nick again. I wrote something that you might be interested in. If you want to know what my favorite retirement income strategy is for most people or many people, we refer to it as the Money Master Guardrails. If you're contemplating what your income strategy for retirement may look like, I invite you to download a copy of my white paper. Get the insights you need. Download a copy today. The link is in the video description.